Do you believe in sleepwalking? Have you ever seen how a sleepwalker sleepwalks? Did you know there's a way to sleepwalk? I believe in sleepwalking. I've seen people sleepwalking, and I know how it's possible to make people sleepwalk. Sleepwalking is a very terrible thing, and it is terrible because the sleepwalker does not know that he is sleepwalking. This is a true story. When I was a freshman in college, I saw one of my roommates sleepwalk. I'm still scared when I think about it. I think I'll start with the boss. One afternoon, I went to play basketball with my roommate, Cheng Wei. When we got to the basketball court, there was no room. So we tried to sneak to the basketball court in the hospital near our school. There, in an old courtyard, was an abandoned basketball court, surrounded by dense weeds. When I got there, I saw that there were already several people playing there. We had no choice but to join their team. It was really a good day to play ball. There was no scorching sunshine. The day was a little gloomy, but the good times did not last long. We played for a while, and it suddenly began to rain. At first, we could play in the rain, but the rain gradually became heavy, and we had to break up and go home. Chen Wei and I had to go back sulkily, and before we had gone far, the sky was like a hole, and the rain was pouring down. Chen Wei and I hugged each other and fled to the eaves of a house in the hospital to take shelter from the rain. It was raining harder and harder, and it was getting dark. We began to get upset at this time. I wanted to run back to school in the rain, but Chen Wei did not want to. At that time, Chen Wei suddenly curiously peered into the crack of the door and whispered in my ear in a strange voice, "Liu Xiaogan, do you know where this is?" "Ah, where is it?" I asked. "You can't read it yourself." I looked up. This is a big house, a little broken for a long time. I glanced at the door, and suddenly all the hair stood on end. This is the hospital morgue, where the dead are placed, and it is said that some of the dead, who cannot be disposed of temporarily, are placed there. We'd better go. The more I felt that it was not appropriate to stay here for a long time, but Cheng Wei did not want to leave, and said to me, "If you want to go, you can go yourself." I just got a lot of anger in my stomach. "Liu Xiaochen, let's go in and have a look." Chen Wei said, "No, I don't dare, we'd better go." I was a little begging him at this time, "You don't go in, even if I go in." At this moment, Chen Wei said. He gently pushed the door. The door unexpectedly silently opened. Chen Wei's body quickly went in. I had no choice but to stand under the roof, waiting for him. The rain is caught in the wind, constantly turning the weeds around. In the weeds, a frog with a big neck, spitting turbid air, a jump in the door to drill. I suddenly realized how desolate this place really was. Suddenly, Chen Wei cried out in horror, and my face suddenly got a layer of goosebumps. I stooped down and crept in a panic. I always feel a dark wind at the back of my neck. As soon as I went in to have a look, there was no shadow of Chen Wei, so I dared to shout under my breath. Suddenly, the door behind me clicked shut. I frantically turned around and saw Chen Wei bending over there, laughing loudly. I came out of this fire and shouted at him, "Is it funny? Do you know scary people can be scary?" Chen Wei saw me angry, also froze for a moment, said, "Oh, that's okay, don't play. But it hasn't stopped raining outside. We'll take shelter here. I don't think anything will happen." At that time, I could only calm the crazy heart, and Chen Wei and I stood in the front hall of the big house, with a few scattered shelves, with a wet taste, just like the sour smell in the muddy grass. Further inside, there were rooms with closed doors. We stood there, bored, looking at each other. After a while, Chen Wei could not bear to press. I watched with fear as Chen Wei walked step by step to the door of the first house. He pushed hard, and the door did not open. He went to the door of the second room, pushed it, and when it opened, he looked sideways at me, and I looked straight at him, and this time I would not pass again. He turned sideways and entered for a moment, and I saw that his face was purple and his eyelids twitched as he came out. When I asked him what he saw, he looked at me in horror and left without saying a word. I had to follow quickly. The day after returning to school, Chen Wei fell ill. A few days later, I asked him again, "What did you see that day?" He looked at me in fear and stopped. Something serious must have happened, I thought. A few days later, I and several other Qing friends in the dormitory had dinner in the canteen and occasionally talked about Chen Wei. One of the roommates said that one night was very strange. In the middle of the night, he got up to go to the toilet and came back, and just when he lay down, he saw Chen Wei get down from the bed. In the bedroom in the dark, he seemed to be groping something. He felt strange, so he quietly called out to Chen Wei, but Chen Wei seemed not to hear it and continued to do something there. The roommates stared at Chen Wei helplessly for half a day, and after about half an hour, Chen Wei went to bed again. Just after the roommate said that, another roommate said that he also saw Chen Wei get up in the middle of the night, as if he were doing something. Several of us suddenly want to say, Chen Wei is not sleepwalking? But he didn't seem to have one before.